Good morning and welcome to La Quinta's annual Veterans Day recognition ceremony. We are so blessed to be able to honor and thank our veterans for the service they provide to our country, because without their service, we cannot live in the beauty of this land, this city, this country that we enjoy so much to protect. So this is your day and we want to say thank you for that. We have a wonderful celebration planned. How many first timers for our Veterans celebration? Ooh! We started this special ceremony 16 years ago and have recognized 348 veterans that are residents of La Quinta. And this is through an art acknowledgement piece that's in our Civic Center Park, which you'll be able to see after the ceremony. And it's a way for us to, again, pay tribute so that you have that legacy to show your family, your kids, your grandkids, and it will always be here with your name, your years of service, and your military branch. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And for those that can, I would ask you all to please stand for our presentation of colors. And this is by the La Quinta High School Air Force Junior ROTC Honor Guard, which will be then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and then the National Anthem, and potentially if you hear an airplane, it'll be the flyover from the Palm Springs Air Museum. And for our Pledge of Allegiance, we have scouts from the Sunrise District, and Marco Rodriguez is the scout who will lead our pledge.
All citizens put their right hand over their heart. All those in uniform salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the La Quinta High School Wind Ensemble will play the National Anthem. And my script says 9:15 is our flyover. And that'll be the Palm Springs Air Museum, and it'll be our pilot, Tom Nightingale. Tom had the pleasure of flying my husband in the P-51 World War II fighter last weekend. That was an expensive birthday present, but it was worth it and he loved it. But I'm on the board for the Palm Springs Air Museum and we love to support them, and I know there are some docents here, several volunteers from the City of La Quinta, and thank you very much for continuing that legacy for education. The city supports them as well. Give a round of applause, please, for our Junior ROTC and our Scouts. So today as we gather, we honor the profound and solemn commitment of the sacrifices made throughout the United States, the brave men and women who have served our country in the armed forces. This is the embodiment of our nation's dedication to freedom, and we are forever in their debts. Their stories have been woven into our history, and they remind us of the great cost of liberty. It's both a privilege and an honor for our council to be together with all of you today as we celebrate the courage, sacrifice, and dedication of our veterans. I've seen a few prior honorees in the audience, so those that have been honored by La Quinta in the past on our volunteer or veteran ceremony, will you please stand for a moment for a round of applause? Thank you for returning, and you're always welcome. Please remain standing. All veterans in the audience, please stand so that we can recognize you. Yes. All about. Let's share a little bit about the history of Veterans Day for maybe some of the youth in the audience and not understanding what this means to continue honoring and recognizing our veterans. It was originally observed annually on November 11th, and it was Armistice Day back in the day, which commemorated the first anniversary of the end of World War I. In 1926, Congress officially passed the resolution to observe this day, and then it became a national holiday in 1938. Finally, in 1954, it was President Dwight D. Eisenhower who signed the legislation to have the name changed from Armistice Day to Veterans Day to ensure that every individual who served in the U.S. Armed Forces would be celebrated. So today, Veterans Day serves as our reminder of the sacrifices made by millions of veterans across our country, encouraging the public to recognize and support the contributions you have all made to our nation. And we are proud again to publicly recognize and celebrate all of you and your families today. Ronald Reagan said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Let me now at this time introduce our council members and other dignitaries that are here celebrating with us today. We have our Mayor Pro Tem, Deborah McGarry. Hearing from each of them shortly. Councilmember Kathleen Fitzpatrick. Councilmember John Pena. And Councilmember and Marine Steve Sanchez. We all have a little bit of military in our relatives. I'd also like to introduce the Mayor of the City of Indio, as well as the District Representative for Congressman Ken Calvert, Glenn Miller, always attending here. Thank you. So we get to be first on the list at 9 o'clock because every city's doing a ceremony about every hour on the hour, and then they go all the way out to Scirocco and then some. So we appreciate the support from Palm Springs Air Museum. And while she's finding her seat, Juliana Pinson is a representative from Senator Rosalia Ochoa Bo's office, our local senator. And also a Marine and a representative from Assembly Member Greg Wallace's office is Felipe Ortiz. I believe we have our Lieutenant Nick Lingle, who is Riverside County Sheriff's Department and our Chief of Police. Thank you. And our Division Chief, Richard Tovar from CAL FIRE Riverside County, proudly serving as East Desert Division 10. I also want to point out, just by a raise of hands, our city staff who helps make this day possible for us. They do the setup, they make sure the invitations go out, they vet through the applications, they're doing photos, they're organizing the reception. So Team La Quinta, please, round of applause because you're invaluable to us. For the folks, you might have noticed the beautiful quilts that are surrounding our courtyard. Oh, they're really doing it nice for them. Marcy's got a drone out there capturing a little bit of something. The flags that are surrounding us, the quilts, are from the Ophelia Project. And the Ophelia Project is a mentoring program that's based out of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Foundation. The location is in Palm Desert, and they're throughout all the high schools in the Coachella Valley. And they take young women from grades 8 through 12, and they do a mentoring program. And they're the ones that are viewed by their counselors and the teachers that have the most potential, that may not have that mentoring at home to encourage further education beyond high school. And they do a variety of things throughout their year. There's a whole leadership program. There's female mentors. Kathleen Fitzpatrick has been one of those in the past. And they spend time with a female mentor as well as collective programs and services throughout the year. And so this was their art piece several years ago. And this was collaborated with one of our local artists, Gideon Cohn, who's a La Quinta resident. And it was 650 Ophelia girls who worked on each square of these quilts. They were 8 by 15 feet, impressive quilts, that started about the American unity of the sisters across our valley. So the art project, again, was led by Gideon, and we have kind of taken a likeness to the fact that it decorates our courtyard so lovely, and we support the Ophelia Project in La Quinta High School because we recognize the importance. They have 100% now graduation rate from high school, and probably 95, 99% move on to college, somewhere here in the valley or beyond. I think they like us. This program's impacted over 4,900 teen girls throughout the valley, and we just are so blessed to have them here and appreciate their support along with our scouts, our high school band, and our ROTC program. Just want to make a note that we also have a flag retirement box, and that's just a friendly reminder in the south parking lot. During our voting time, many people drop their ballots in there, but it's really a U.S. flag retirement box. And if you have a tattered flag, please put that in there, and then we work with the Scouts and the American Legion to properly dispose of those flags. That's a free service. We also, as you end the ceremony and go out to see your names on the acknowledgement plaque, and for those that have been honored to visit those names as well, you will also pass a Gold Star Monument. And the Gold Star Monument is a new art piece that we've had just for the last couple of years in the City of La Quinta to honor our Gold Star families. And the Gold Star families are those families that have had a military person killed in the line of duty or serving in our country. And we have two. We have James Perez, and I know his mom's here to recognize her father today, and of course the late Corporal Hunter Lopez, the Marine, with one of the 13 servicemen and women that were killed in the Afghanistan attacks. The other thing that we have at our museum is the Fallen Soldier Table, and many of you may be aware of the Fallen Soldier Table. It is a table that represents many different symbols of those that are not returning home. And if anybody who has not been to our La Quinta Museum, which is also free, and it's open from Tuesday to Saturdays from 10 to 4. During the month of November, they will have the Soldiers Fallen Table, and you'll learn a lot about the La Quinta history. And those are just important pieces. One of the key individuals that helped push to have the Gold Star Monument in our city through our Arts and Public Service program is our former council member, Dr. Robert Raddy, who is also in the audience, and I didn't recognize him. Please stand up, Robert, for your contributions. The Italian Army, so this is also his day. We give him credit for that. And I will also mention the former mayor of La Quinta, Mayor Don Adolph, who served from 2002 to 2014. He recently passed away. He was in the Marines, and he always, I know, enjoyed our veterans ceremony. So with that, I would like to have each of our council members come up and share their words on Veterans Day and talk about, and we also have some leaders in our community that will be doing that. We'll start with Mayor Pro Tem Deborah McGarry, and they will continue introducing the next speaker.
Well, good morning, everyone. And again, thank you, Madam Mayor. She does a great job. Round of applause for the Mayor. So good morning, everyone, and I want to thank you for joining us today as we gather to honor the men and women who have served and who continue to serve in the United States Armed Forces. Today, our nation pauses, our city pauses, to recognize among those who have answered the call of the greater good above themselves. They left the comfort of their home to embrace and the embracement of the family and the familiarity of everyday life to stand watch for the rest of us. Their courage and their sense of duty have preserved the freedoms we hold dear and the peace we so often take for granted. When we look around our community, we see veterans everywhere. Our neighbors, co-workers, teachers, friends, and family members. They are the quiet strength that holds our communities together. Some have seen combat, others have served to supporting roles, and others have sacrificed themselves. And yet, these brave men and women make up only 6% of the nation's population. 6%, a small number, but an extraordinary symbol of what dedication and courage can achieve. Imagine trying to survive on 6% air that we breathe or 6% water that we drink. We couldn't, but somehow just 6% of the people of our country defend the freedoms of 100% of our nation. That is nothing short of remarkable. Our veterans represent the very best of America. They embody values that define true character, honor, courage, and commitment. They live by principles of loyalty, discipline, and integrity. Through the training, hardship, and sacrifice, they have developed resilience and strength that inspire us all. Their stories remind us that freedom is never free. It comes at a cost paid in time away from their loved ones, missed birthdays, milestones, and for many, the ultimate sacrifice of life itself. Behind every veteran is a family who serves them, who waits, worries, and supports the unwavering love and pride. Today, we honor them as well. On Veterans Day, let us take more than a moment of silence. Let us take a moment of gratitude. Gratitude not only for what our veterans have done, but for who they are, leaders, mentors, protectors, examples of what it means to live with purpose and integrity. The community we have a responsibility to carry the spirit forward. Let us make sure every veteran feels seen, supported, and valued, not just for Veterans Day, but every day. So please remember to go out and take a look at the memorials later today. Whenever it's thought, a simple thank you, a handshake, or by volunteering with an organization that serves veterans or family, each of us can play a role in honoring their legacy. So today, to the 6% who have served, to those serving now, we say thank you. Thank you for your bravery, your sacrifice, and your unyielding devotion to the nation. You remind us of what it truly means to serve something greater than ourselves. May we live each day worthy of your sacrifice, united in gratitude and strength by example. God bless our veterans, God bless our community, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Fitzpatrick, our wonderful councilman.
Good morning. Oh, here we go. I'm bad with the mics every year, and I talk too softly without it, so I've been told to be better. So anyway, good morning, and thank you all for joining us on this special morning. As always, it's an honor to be here and to have the privilege to pay tribute to the men and women who make a commitment to do something larger than themselves by serving in the armed forces of the United States. Today we reflect on their service, knowing the example they set for all of us. Today, 20 of you will have your names added to our art monuments prominently placed in the Civic Center campus behind us. Well, behind you. As we acknowledge the value that our residents place on the veterans' service to our country. We reflect on the meaning of this special holiday We should take note of the sheer number, as Deborah said, of men and women who for over the past 250 years have protected and served our country. And we should be grateful for the fact that over the past 50 years, it's an all-volunteer armed forces. These men and women of great courage step up willingly to put their lives on the line to preserve democracy, protect our values and our freedoms. And as we value them, we need to also value their families who make a sacrifice as well in service to our country. We owe our veterans a debt we can never fully repay. We owe them our gratitude, our support, and our care every day, not just on Veterans Day. It's our responsibility to make sure they're prepared while they're away serving and support them when they return home to private life. We must recognize the contributions that they willingly volunteered to make for the price of our freedom and peace here in America, while fulfilling our vision of democracy by example around the world. I can't end without recognizing the service of my husband, Ron, who is a previous honoree. He went into the Marines at 17 out of Nashville, Tennessee, right after graduating high school. He will tell you that beyond service to the country, the values he found in the Marine Corps positively contributed to the person he became. A strong, responsible citizen, and a still proud Marine. Ron's father, my father, and all three of Ron's brothers served the country in various branches of the military. His brothers are all interred at the Middle Tennessee Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Nashville. We honor them today. All who join the military find the values we cherish ingrained in their training, and therefore their service to the country. While some of us may feel that the country is not always united, it's important that we all here today are united to celebrate our democracy and the patriotic men and women who are among our best, our veterans. Again, thank you all for being here to join us in celebrating and honoring our veterans and their families who love and support them. And in closing, I'd just like to reiterate what Linda said earlier. Thank you to our team, who is always above and beyond the call of duty on these days, for putting this program together. The La Quinta High School Orchestra, always providing our musical support, and to our Ophelia ambassadors. One of the things that I learned as a mentor was how important these kind of civic events are. It's important for our young women to know the value that they have in society by giving back in service. So thank you. This is an extraordinary event put on by our team, and it's one of the ones that we love the best. And now I'd like to turn it over to John Pena.
Thank you, Kathleen. And again, it's my privilege and pleasure to be here this morning. As I look out amongst this group, it's absolutely wonderful to see all the new first-timers here. And congratulations to you for coming today. Welcome to the City of La Quinta. We hope to see you again. And to all the veterans out there, thank you for your service. As I woke up this morning, thinking about what I was going to say today, I didn't write anything down. I figured I'll just speak from the heart. I thought about the reflection of what we have before us today, what has been in the past, and to remember all of those veterans who have served, who have given their lives. But I also want to remember the families, because the families also paid a price as well and continue to pay that price in living with veterans that maybe have had troubles in the past because of PSTD and all of those issues that go along with that. We want to thank the families as well. I also want to thank our first responders and the service that they do. We can never forget that they put their lives on the line every day. In this world that we live in today, it's very, very difficult. And for the young kids who are out here today, it's difficult for you to be in this world right now as it changes so rapidly. As we move forward into a new era of communication, new era of working with other countries and all sorts of things. It's a tough time out here in America. But I think we as Americans need to make sure that we stick together, that we never forget who we are, what we are, where we came from, what makes this country so great. It's the people that work together to make this country wonderful, and the veterans that protect that freedom that we have. We never want to take it for granted. So I want to thank you again for coming out here today. And again, I look forward to talking to as many of you as I can. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of new faces. Again, it's my pleasure to be here. And with that, I'll invite up Councilmember Steve Sanchez for his comment.
All I have, Madam Mayor? I'm limited on my talk time today. All right. Excuse me. Good morning, and thank you for joining us here in the City of La Quinta as we honor our nation's veterans. You know, service ties and binds us deeper than words. And that's what brings us here today. Because we don't just remember, we carry forward. This year holds a special meaning. 250 years ago, in 1775, even before the Declaration of Independence was signed, the United States Army, United States Navy, and United States Marine Corps were born. See, our founders understood that liberty cannot survive without those willing to defend it. These branches were forged before there was even a nation to call home, created by patriots who believed freedom was worth fighting for. And for 2.5 centuries, through every generation, through every hardship, and through every victory, America's sons and daughters have carried the torch of service. From the birth of our republic to this very moment, they have stood the watch. They are the living bridge between the promise of 1776 and the realities of today. So we don't just remember, we carry forward their founding spirit. And if you attended our 9/11 vigil, you heard me talk about how often we say never forget. But for today's younger generation, 9/11 isn't a memory. It's a history lesson. It's a chapter in their book. It's faded memories. And Veterans Day is much the same. For many of our kids, the battles that shaped this nation are just names in books, old photographs. But we must not forget Lexington and Concord, Gettysburg, Normandy, Iwo Jima, the sands of Iraq and Afghanistan. For every freedom we enjoy, every liberty we live under was made possible by somebody who stood up, wore the uniform, and said, "Send me." Ordinary Americans from every walk of life, united by duty, love of country, and belief that America was worth defending. We don't just remember, we carry forward their courage, their values, and their love of country. Here in La Quinta, we are blessed to call many of those heroes our neighbors. You look around. Through our City Veteran Recognition Program, we engrave their names, ranks, and years of service into our Veterans Acknowledgement here at Civic Center Park. A living reminder that their legacy is woven into our community. Their names may be etched in stone, but their spirit lives in us. We don't just remember, we carry forward what they stood for. You see, wars may change, but the warrior spirit does not. From the flint muskets and horsebacks, to the tanks and bombers, to satellites and cyber defense, our nation's military has always adapted and overcome. See, technology evolves, weapons change, but the heart of the American warrior remains the same. We raise our hands, we take an oath, we say, "Send me." In an all-volunteer military, we step forward so others don't have to. We don't just remember, we carry forward the spirit of every generation who stood before the watch. For me, wearing the uniform of a United States Marine was the greatest honor of my life. I served 8 years in the infantry alongside men who became brothers. We were proud, we were young, we were ready to give everything for the Republic if she called for it. And while we served, our families carried a quite little burden of their own. See, behind every deployment, there's an empty chair at the dinner table. A chair that waits in silence, filled with worry, pride, and love that stretches across oceans. And sometimes, and sometimes, from the seat next to it, comes a small voice. I gotta rewrite my speeches. And it says, Mom, when's Daddy coming home? Or Dad, when's Mommy coming home? See, our families don't wear the uniform, but they carry the weight of it every single day. So we don't just remember, we carry forward their strength too. When I think about something of brother of mine, a Marine brother of mine, Brian Bowers, I have to give him a quote because I never quote him. So I've got to give him a Brian Bowers. He told me, we are the men the founding fathers were counting on. And that dog agrees. And he was right. Every generation of veterans has been the answer to that call. Long ago in ancient Athens, every young man, upon completing his military training, took an oath that was called the Athenian Oath. They promised, we would never bring disgrace to this our city. We will strive unceasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. And thus, in all these ways, we will transmit this city, not only, but not less, but greater, better, and more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. See, even thousands of years ago, they understood something we often forget today, that duty does not end for a warrior when the battle is over. And duty as a citizen does not end when we thank them. That this is our torch to carry now. So we don't just remember, we carry forward their duty to keep their legacy alive. And as Marines cut their 250 birthday cake yesterday on 10 November, happy birthday Marines. And as we celebrate 250 years of the United States Army, Navy, and Marine Corps, let us remember that they were born together with the Republic itself. For 250 years, they stood watch over liberty, guarding the ideas that gave this nation life. And as our city and our country honor every veteran on November 11th, let's do more than remember them. Let's carry them forward in how we live, how we serve, and how we love this republic they defended. The image, as we heard from our national anthem, the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in there, it mirrors the spirit of every American veteran who stood guard through their own nights of fear and doubt, danger to ensure our flag was still there. And just as the rockets illuminated at Fort McHenry to prove that the flag was still waving, the courage and sacrifice of our veterans illuminate our nation's path forward, reminding us that freedom isn't self-sustaining. It must be defended generation after generation. So Veterans Day is our living proof through the night. It's proof that America still stands because of those willing to stand for her. Our flag flies. It flies today because of their valor, their devotion, and their unbreakable faith in what the flag represents. Liberty, unity, and the promise of a better tomorrow. So as I look in the audience, I say, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. Thank you, and God bless America.
Of what true service means. It's the quiet courage to put duty before self, the willingness to sacrifice for others, the strength to carry on in the face of uncertainty. Their sacrifices and the sacrifices of their families have shaped our nation's character and safeguarded our way of life. For my family, this day holds a very personal meaning. We're a Gold Star family, and I just want to take a moment to honor those in my family who served. My grandfather, William Arthur Lingle Jr., who gave his life in service to this country in 1961. And my other grandfather, Ezekiel Montoya, and Councilmember Sanchez's story brought a tear to my eye mentioning the little boy at the table because my dad was one of those little boys at the table asking when his dad was coming home. And he too, even after that, answered the call and served in the United States Marine Corps. My uncle Charlie Herford, from my wife's family, her grandfathers, Eleuterio Rios and Gerardo Noyola, and her brother Matthew Rios. So in our household, this is a very special day. So I thank you all for your service. And their service is like that of all who have worn the uniform. It's a powerful reminder that the freedoms we enjoy aren't free. They're earned every day by the courage and sacrifice of those willing to serve. So to every veteran here today and to the family who supported them, thank you. We honor your service, your sacrifice, your enduring love of country. May we live in a way that is worthy of your example, with gratitude, unity, and an unwavering commitment to one another. So thank you for everything you've done. God bless our veterans, our community, the United States of America.
And now I have the pleasure of introducing retired Lieutenant Colonel Peter Shaner. Lieutenant Colonel Shaner completed 27 years of military service with time in the Navy, the Air Force, and the National Guard. So tell me how that decision process happened. Maybe he can share that. He's flown as a navigator and mission specialist in both reconnaissance and cargo aircraft. And since September, has now joined our La Quinta High School Senior Aerospace Studies Instructor for the Air Force Junior ROTC program at La Quinta High School. And he will then introduce our guest student speaker afterwards. Thank you. Come on up, Lieutenant.
I will do that. Actually, I have some comments in here.
Oh, very good.
Good morning, everyone. I have more than one page, but I trust you. It's all big type, so this should go fairly quickly due to my old eyes. As I look out at the veterans, and I think of myself as a veteran, but on Veterans Day, I don't think of myself. And I doubt most of the veterans here on Veterans Day think of themselves either. I think of the veterans I have known in my life. Veterans whose service helped shape me and shape the world I live in. I think of my dad, who was a veteran of both World War II and Vietnam. I think of my classmates from the Naval Academy, and in particular, my female classmates, who were the first women ever to graduate from the Naval Academy. And one in particular, who was in the Pentagon on 9/11. She survived, thank God, and I count her among my friends. And before I go on, yes, you did hear me say Naval Academy. Even though I wear Air Force blue now, I started my military career as a midshipman and then as a naval flight officer. And among the other veterans I honor is the man who was the superintendent of the Naval Academy while I was there. A man who was a pilot, an aviator, and who was shot down over Vietnam and spent almost 6 years as a prisoner of war. I think of one of the pilots I flew with in my first squadron, Michael Lopez Alegria. We all used to call him Mike L.A. Mike L.A. went on to become a NASA astronaut who flew 3 space shuttle missions and performed 10 spacewalks. I think of the special operations soldiers my flight crew and I took to remote low places in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I think of the soldiers and airmen that I had the honor to lead during my time in the Air National Guard. These are the people I think of on Veterans Day. The people I was fortunate enough to be trained by, the people who led me, the people who served alongside me, and the people that I was fortunate enough to lead. And I also think of people like those gathered in the audience here today. People who I never met, but who are brothers and sisters in arms, and with whom I share an unbreakable bond. But there's one other thing I'm thinking about this Veterans Day. Most of Veterans Day is about looking backward. It's about honoring those who have served at some point in the past. But as I step into my new role as a junior ROTC instructor, Veterans Day gains an added dimension. Instead of looking backward, it invites me to look forward at those who will be the next generation of veterans. Students who may have not yet made the decision to serve, but who we may someday be honoring in the future. So as we pause today to think about the veterans in our past, I think it's important to hear the perspective of someone who hopes to be a veteran in the future. I introduce you now to Cadet Major Ethan Miller, who is the squadron commander of our cadets at the La Quinta High School Black Hawk Squadron, and who currently has applications out to both the Naval Academy and the Air Force Academy, both very fine institutions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Colonel said, my name is Cadet Major Ethan Miller, and I'm the Squadron Commander of the La Quinta High School AFJROTC Black Hawk Squadron. I'm here to tell you all about why I desire to become a veteran one day and serve in the military. I'd like to start by saying that it's truly an honor to be standing here and speaking in front of you on this very special day. I'm very happy to see all of you here. A little bit about myself: I'm an avid guitar player, I'm the captain of the boys varsity tennis team, and I intend on commissioning as an officer into the U.S. military, either via the academies or college ROTC. I hope to eventually become a pilot and fly for the rest of my life as long as I can. Now, as I had mentioned, I'm the squadron commander of my unit. This position holds the highest level of responsibility in CA 951, and I have the privilege of overseeing 102 cadets. I get to make sure that our unit functions properly and that we maintain our positive local reputation. As a squadron commander, I've had the privilege of understanding and experiencing the level of commitment and responsibility required of a leader, and I absolutely love it. There's not a single thing I do not like about my job, from the boring behind the scenes of it, the logistics and the paperwork, to the exciting personnel management, getting to put names to faces, and getting to meet new people and watch my cadets bloom. Everything about my job is a challenge, and I love it. My time in AFJROTC has resulted in a newfound respect for the military. In JROTC, we cadets get to experience what a real chain of command with higher levels of responsibility, military-style organization and procedures looks like. And after only 4 years, I've come to see how influential these things are to the individual and their character growth. I have seen shy freshmen who enter high school with very closed minds find families in ROTC and become more open-minded and happy individuals. Even though JROTC only touches the tip of an iceberg of what military life is like, I can already see how impactful it is on everybody. I myself want to experience what the rest of this iceberg is like. My appreciation for the structure and discipline of the U.S. military that I have found in JROTC leads me to want to continue to build my life structured around these. Having the opportunity to meet veterans such as yourselves also influences my decision of joining. Every single veteran that I have met holds a distinct sense of composure and readiness about them, and it sets you apart from the civilian world and, in my opinion, for the veteran. For example, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Shader has only spent over a month in my JROTC program, and yet he has been able to quickly adapt and create growth for the cadets. His ability to bring new ideas to the table and adapt to new environments is a testament to the way the military builds better leaders and builds character. Another example I would like to provide to you is our Master Sergeant, Dean Temple, my aerospace science instructor. Up until the middle of September, Master Sergeant Temple has been the sole instructor of our unit for 3 years. Being an instructor is demanding enough, but doing it by yourself seems near impossible. But Master Sergeant Temple was able to do it. Master Sergeant put in extra work, hours, and care into the unit and its cadets so that we could experience the full potential of AFJROTC and its opportunities. The sacrifices veterans make are some of the most impactful, and one day I would like to contribute to that. My West Texan uncle, Uncle Wes, once told me, "Son, serving one's country is one of the most noble things a man can do," and I intend on making good on that. Thank you for your time, everybody, and it's truly a pleasure to see you all here today. Thank you.
Cadet Miller's 18 years old. This is the future of our country. Thank you, team, for adding youth to our program. All right, this is the exciting part. This is where our certificate presentation begins. And we will call up each individual, tell a little bit about the branch of service, and our entire council will assist in presenting certificates. If y'all want to come over now, you can. Line up. We've got Team La Quinta that will be handing us certificates. So our goal is we'll announce each branch of service, and when we call the veteran up, if you could please start on that end, because each of us want to give you a handshake and or a hug, depending on what you're comfortable with. And then Nixon here in the middle will line up and do a group photo. If families want to converge in and do photos, you can. There'll be plenty of time afterwards as well. And we have a nice parting gift from the City of La Quinta, as well as the shirts you have. And there's certificates from not only the City of La Quinta, our Assembly Member's office, our Senator's office, and our Congressman's office, as well as, I believe, our County Supervisor's office. So you've got a little bit of wall swag to enjoy this special occasion. So again, our veterans, each of you have Master Sergeant David Denny, who's retired, who served 5 tours of combat within 24 years of the Army, will be accepting for his dad, Donald Denny, who we just lost on Saturday, a dear friend of mine, her daughter Sandy. And we have a lot of family here to acknowledge all of you, so thank you. All right, veterans and families, of course, are in the first couple of rows, and let's go ahead and start. We're going to start with the U.S. Air Force. So the United States Air Force has been around since 1907, when it was initially formed as part of the U.S. Army. In 1947, it was established as its own separate branch of the military, and since then has become the largest and most technologically advanced Air Force in the world. They operate thousands of military aircraft and provide air support for land and naval forces. And the Air Force takes great pride in protecting the United States from potential threats in the air, space, and now even cyberspace. So I will read the names, and each of you can come up individually. And we have one honoree in the Air Force, and that's Sergeant William F. Stiles, who served from 1948 to 1952.
I want to thank the Mayor and Council of La Quinta for honoring us veterans. I have never been prouder of being a veteran and an American than I am today.
We have 7 U.S. Army veterans to recognize today. Let me tell you a little bit about the U.S. Army. In 1775, I'm feeling youthful all of a sudden. The Continental Congress established the United States Army with George Washington as its commander to fight the invading British Army. By implementing new strategies and battle tactics, the British were defeated, and the U.S. Army gained notoriety for having some of the toughest, strongest, and most fearless fighters in the world. The Army has maintained its fearless reputation and has become one of the largest military branches. We are thankful that the Army continues to protect and defend the United States with the use of ground troops, advanced weaponry, and reconnaissance. So let's start with, and if able, we'll go ahead and start here. Councilman Sanchez will hand over the goods. We'll do some recognition, and we'll land center stage here for photos. SSG Kenneth J. Burt, who served from 2003 to 2015. SD4, that's when I came into the world, to 1967, SP4 Kenneth C. Camarello.
I am wearing a Trump tie in honor of the greatest commander-in-chief we've ever had.
Serving in the Army from 1965 to 1968, Sergeant Dane W. Cohal. SP4 David W. McQuaid. Captain Robert A. Millar III from 1994 to 1998, new resident of and serving from 1942 to 1945, Sergeant James R. Snell, accepting is his daughter, Debbie Garcia, who is the mom of the late James Perez, Gold Star family. I'm going to say LTC. Tell me what it stands for. Lieutenant Colonel L. Allen Tibbetts. Thank you, gentlemen. To the United States Marine Corps. We have 3 honorees. The Marine Corps traces their roots back to the Revolutionary War, when the first group of Marines was formed to launch an amphibious assault against the British Navy. The assault resulted in an American victory, and the Marines haven't stopped fighting and will never stop fighting to defend this great country. Why is it that the dog only barks when Marines are? I see a future. The Marine Corps continues amphibious assaults and covert operations against our enemies, and by doing so has played a significant role in every major war. The Marines are proud to serve their country, and their commitment to protecting our freedom and will never be broken. All right, let's start with Sergeant John F. McSweeney III from 1967 to 1973. And serving from 1982 to 2004, looks like Master Sergeant Martin R. Morales. Come on in. Flag waiver that's cheering us on in our photo smiles. And we also have Lance Corporal Santos A. Rojo, who served from 2004 to 2010. Navy's next. The Navy, we're here with some hoorahs. The Navy is an essential component to our military forces. With over 330,000 active duty personnel, the U.S. Navy is one of the largest, most capable Navy in the world. In addition to hundreds of combat vessels in the water, the Navy has thousands of operational aircraft to assist with air assaults when necessary. And not only does the U.S. Navy protect the U.S. from amphibious assaults, but it also plays an important role in foreign policy and diplomatic aid. We have a number of U.S. Navy veterans to recognize. Let's start with 1968 to 1971, CT-13 Jack A. Kreider. And serving from 1951 to 1955, PO3 Donald L. Denny, being accepted by his son, Master Sergeant David Denny, who's retired. Okay, and from 1964 to 1967, I'm going to just read it as it is. EON 3, Terry L. Fleming.
Equipment operator.
Another round of applause, please. And from 1968 to 1970, LTJG.
Lieutenant Junior Grade.
Yes. William H. Gunnell. Now we get to spell it out. We'll hold something. We got another one coming. We have another one. All right, 1942 to 1944, Francis, Lieutenant Junior grade. Francis J. Longworth, and this is being accepted by Richard Longworth for Francis. Thank you. Also a veteran. Thank you. From 1961 to 1965, STS2, L. Daryl Mayo. He's not here. Round of applause for Daryl. Okay, Mr. McQuaid's going to accept for him. It's his cousin. Okay, join us. Let's do it. From 1964 to 1968, EN2 Thomas J. Close. And from 1969 to 1971, MR3 Thomas R. Plumley. Excellent. Yes, rest of our Marines. 1981 to 1984, MS3 Thomas S.H. Sheets. Thomas Sheets. December 20th of 2019 with the enactment of the fiscal year 2020 National Defense Authorization Act. The United States Space Force is a separate and distinct branch of the armed services organized under the Department of the Air Force in a manner very similar to how the Marine Corps is organized under the Department of the Navy. Space Force brass seal is installed on our Veterans Monument as well, and it is in the furthest east side of our Civic Center campus. And then U.S. Coast Guard. On occasion, we have U.S. Coast Guards that we honor, and there are several out on the acknowledgement plaques. And it's the Coastal Defense and Maritime Law Enforcement branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. Since the 70s, they've conducted homeland security missions and have established themselves worldwide as a leader of search and rescue. Currently, there's over 50,000 men and women on active duty in the U.S. Coast Guard who have volunteered to protect the coastal borders of the United States and help further protect the country we love. Another round of applause for our 20 honorees and their families. The presentation certificate part of the 2025 veteran honorees. But remember, as we had mentioned, in addition to the certificates received today and a little bit of swag, your names, military branch, and years of service are forever embedded on our art acknowledgement plaques throughout Civic Center campus, and we invite you to enjoy them today and every day. This is a wonderful reminder of the heroism that has been demonstrated by all of you and those before you, and recognizing the service that you provided. When you visit the park and walk out from here, there's actually two different monuments. The one closest to us, City Hall, which is more the east side. That's where Army, National Guard, and Air Force veterans are placed. We had to add another, which is great because we had so many names. The one farthest in the back of the library is where you will find the Marines, Navy, and Coast Guard veterans. You don't need to have a Space Force veteran, but maybe one of our young folks at some point will be there. And again, we want to thank our honorees for your appreciation. We will do a, we will do an Armed Forces salute by the La Quinta Wind Ensemble. So the goal will be, as you hear your medley, your theme song, please stand up so that we can applaud you. And as each branch, please rise. All of our veterans in the audience so that we can pay tribute to you one last time. And here we go. Dr. Joy. has not yet been honored and you would like to be part of our veteran celebration, we do have applications available online at the La Quinta website, but we also printed out paper versions as well. As long as you have honorable discharge, DD 214. Yes. The staff takes care of you, and we will bring you up next year and recognize you and add you to our acknowledgement plaque. And the information and criteria is there, and as you realize, even if you have a resident of La Quinta who's no longer with us, we still want to recognize them for their military service, and we're so proud that they are part of our community. At this time, I'd like to have everybody join in a few moments of silence to remember military friends and family, again, who are no longer with us, but are always here in spirit. And the La Quinta High School Wind Ensemble will do a moment of silence, and they will go into taps, and then we'll close our ceremony. Surprise for our veterans that are being honored this year. And if you look at the screens, you'll see a sample of the pole banners that have been created for our veterans. And these will be throughout Civic Center Park after this week's art celebration, which the veterans will